Hi folks, welcome back to another slot car review here at Scale Hectic. Now the car we're going to look at today is one I picked up at the winter swap meet at Gaydon. We did a video on that. If you haven't seen it, go and take a look. But yeah, this car, you may have noticed that a lot of what I'm interested in, or kind of what's my bag, is 90s JDM stuff. So when I saw this R32 GTR, I couldn't resist it. And it also intrigued me because I haven't seen anything from HPI Racing before. So I thought it was worth taking a look. So from what I can work out, HPI were doing slot cars around 2009, but I can't find out much more information other than they did put out a release saying that they were going to bring some out. And I'm not sure how long it lasted for, but it looks like they didn't actually produce very many, maybe just Skylines. Perhaps you can tell me in the comments. But this one really struck me because it's really, really nicely detailed. Now, whether that's going to translate to it being good around the track, I don't know, but we'll find that out later in the video. But it's really nicely detailed, this car. So let's take a more in-depth look and get under the skin of it and see what it's actually made of. As I say, I just thought this car looked stunning. The metallic colours on models can be really tricky because obviously the metallic can look way too big. And on this one, yeah, it's a little bit larger than it, would be in reality, but I think they've done quite a good job of sort of scaling that, so to speak. One of the other things that really drew me to it was how crisp all the body lines are. Not just the sort of shape of the car, but just look how crisp those lines are where the joint lines are in terms of like bonnet, doors, round the door handle, even down to the seam on the side skirt there at the front of the door where that would have been where it met the front wing. Everything's really crisp. Around the glass, really, really crisp. The heating element on the rear window and the wiper shown there on the rear window. The GTR logo on the wing, the Skyline logo on the front of the bonnet. Everything's there as it should be. Even down to the front lip spoiler's got the cutouts for it that in there for the brake cooling that would have been there, and they're actually holes. They're not just in dents in the moulding. Really, really nicely done. So yeah, if nothing else, even if this doesn't perform that well around the track, it's a great static model anyway. The interior's done really well as well. The seats look correct. I know what the GTR seats are like, and that's how they look. Although I think the outer colour is a bit on the blue side, really. I think it's greyer than that in reality, but that's really nitpicking. But it does look like it's a full interior. We've got all, I can see the driver's legs in there, centre console. It looks like it's all there. So they've done well to get everything there. We're just missing the bottom of the back seats, really. So they've done a pretty good job there. So let's have a look at the underside and see how they've configured the motor and everything else. So we've got our exhaust detail, petrol tank detail, two body mounts here, sidewinder motor. That's quite funny, isn't it? Caution hot sticker for the motor. So yeah, plastic gears by the looks of it. Looks like a fairly basic motor. We've got 8.5mm wide tyres with a nice tread pattern on there. Magnet right in front of the motor, and what looks like another magnet position here, so we can play around with that a little bit. That's the hole that mounts the car to its display case. Obviously no provisions for digital here. This predates digital. The guide is sprung loaded left to right and up and down, which is quite nice. Standard braids there, and then our front body mounts here. Same width tyres, front and rear. It looks like a fairly basic chassis, really. Nothing that much to note there. Let's have a look inside and see what we can find in there. Well, there's a lot more going on in there than I was first expected. So, okay, we'll start at the back as usual. We've got plastic bushings here on the rear axle. Not ideal, but it looks like you could change them out quite easily if you wanted to. As previously thought, plastic gears. We don't know what spec that motor is. There's no way of knowing that at the moment, but we'll see how that performs later. Obviously your wiring going through, and this is an interesting detail, isn't it? Not seen that before. I assume you can undo these 4 screws to remove that assembly, and then you'll be able to pop out that front axle. Front axle is same thing on those bushings, but there is some float up and down, and then onto the guide here. Now this is something that surprised me, is this magnet holder here that comes out and can turn upside down within that same area. You can see these 2 pins here. I don't know if you can see them on the camera. So yeah, you can pull that out, switch it upside down, which then moves it further away from the track. Or you can take this one out, put that in the back, put that one in the front, and do the same thing again, making it really easy to move that magnet about without having to undo clips and things like that. It actually pushes out of there really, really easy, which I really like. That makes for messing about with it, makes it a lot easier than it normally is. Moving on to the underside of the body, it just looks kind of heavy, doesn't it? So I don't know how that's going to affect its performance. That is moving some centre of gravity up higher than you would normally like, but it depends what's more important to you, how it performs or how it looks. Obviously we've got all our circuitry here, so it's got lights. Now that's interesting. How does that connect from down here to up there? I'm not entirely sure now. I guess that these 2 spring clips here touch on those screw heads. That's a great idea. I mean, you can remove the body without any wires being in the way. It's complicated, but it works, and it's quite a neat detail, that. Yeah, so obviously all our interior detail, which looks like it can be unscrewed and removed if you need to, which is handy, and then the circuitry, etc., and everything for the front and rear lights. Yeah, there's more in there than I was thinking. I thought this was going to be really basic inside. I mean, the motor assembly and that's quite basic, but that's quite easy to upgrade if you wanted to. Yeah, so I guess the next stage is, let's see what it does around the track. Okay, initial thoughts then. Well, very quickly on I realised that the magnet in the position that it came in, which was with it in the lower position at the back, you can basically drive the car pretty much flat out all the way around. So that's hopeless from an enthusiast point of view. Okay, if you want children to play with it, because chance of them coming off is pretty slim. But on this particular track, with the magnet in a lower position at the back, I could drive it almost flat out all the way around. So very quickly decided to switch that around to that position. So it's still at the back, but it's in the further away from the track position. It's okay. It's fairly forgiving, but what I would find would happen would that it could quite easily sort of back end would come out and that would lift the front out, and then it would just kind of sort of go sideways. But then a couple of times I did get the car very sideways. That was off camera, and it recovered it. So yeah, I think it's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna be the fastest car around the track, but we'll find out. And what I'm just feeling here actually is that these tyres really could do with truing, because I can feel a lump on the inner edge of that tyre, which obviously won't be helping. And in actual fact, as you look at that on the wear, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, you can see it's only really wearing on the very inside edge. So of course that will help in the long term. I'm probably not going to intrude them on this one because I want to keep the tread pattern on there. I don't really want to lose that. If I do that, I'll go to some different tyres. So let's see what it does lap time wise. I'm going to only do a lap time with the magnet in this position. I feel like it's pointless to do it in the other position, and then we'll just see what that performs like with that. Let's give it a go. Second thoughts. Thought I'd try the magnet in the front position before doing the timed laps, and yeah, it revealed a few issues. So first of all, tried it in the front position with the magnet low, and that basically meant the car didn't move anywhere. And then magnet high, front position, and I think there's potential there. Now the reason I thought I'd try that is the main issue with it in the rear position was that it would sort of either get too sideways or tip slightly, and the guide would then come out the slot. So I'm thinking if it was in the front, we might get a nice balance of being able to slide the back end, but the guide stay in the slot. But what I've discovered basically is that it needs new tyres, which is not surprising, is it, on a car that was manufactured in the early 2000s or sort of 2008, 2009. Unfortunately, I don't have any tyres that fit it correctly and will work correctly, but I even tried to true the tyres, and what that revealed is that there was no rubber coming off the tyre as I was truing it, so they've gone hard basically. But I will still do a time lap. I'll do it with the rear position as it's shown here, rear high position, and we'll do a time lap, and then maybe at a later date we'll revisit this car and try some new tyres and see if we can improve it. But let's see what it does on the time lapse. Okay, well that's a 5.56 second lap. Not surprisingly, that puts it at the slowest car on the track, some 1.5 seconds behind the fastest car being that Ninko Supra, which still hasn't been beaten yet, which I'm surprised at. I mean, it's not surprising, is it? Knackered tyres or hard tyres is the issue. What we'll do at some point is we will revisit this with some new tyres once I find something to fit it, and we'll do a new lap time and try some different magnet positions and see how that alters it. But overall, as I mentioned, I love the detailing on the car. Looks fantastic. I don't even mind how it drives. Okay, it needs tyres, but I quite like the sort of tail happiness on the back end. I quite enjoy that sort of driving. But it needs tyres, as we've mentioned, and then it will be even better. So not a complete disaster, not the best car in the world, but we sort of expected that given the weight of the interior and how high that makes the centre of gravity. But nonetheless, pair it with cars of a similar performance and you're all going to be having a lot of fun around the track with it. All right, well, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.